Hi, everyone. Susie Foote. So good to see you. Mark Edwards. Have we met, Mark? I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? Hold on.
I'm muted there.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, we haven't met. I was on the first tech training I think that you did, and then I'm returning now. So
Okay, good. Oh, I know. I was like, your name sounds familiar. I just wanted to reintroduce myself. Good. Hi, Susie. Good to see you. Hi, Samir. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, it is.
I love it. Where are you from? What market center?
Keller Williams Realty Success.
Littleton. That's where I started. I love that market center. It's very close to me in my heart too, as well as geographically. I'm in Highlands Ranch. All right, I'm going to give it a few minutes for agents to pour in. And for those of you who aren't on video, I'm going to ask you to turn it on because as a trainer, it's just so much nicer. It makes it easier to just like connect with you, talk to you, and then the material could be a little bit more powerful with engagement. So I want to ask you all to feel free to raise a digital hand if you can, if you want to stop me at any time. And also just place in the chat, and I'll do my best to look at the chat if you have any questions. So place in the chat what you have as far as questions go. But today we're going to discuss value proposition and how we can implement your value proposition into Command so that your agents, excuse me, so that your clients know exactly what you're offering. And we're going to get into that. So we're going to go a little bit deeper with opportunities today and also just maybe reinvigorate what value proposition means, what it means to you, and how you could really start becoming more consistent with your messaging. Okay. So I will, if I need to repeat myself, I will. I'm going to give it about 2 more minutes to make sure that we have all the people in. Small crowd today. Yeah, here comes a couple more.
Hey, Leslie.
Yes.
It's
Hi.
Susie. How
Hi,
are you?
Susie. I'm doing great. How are you?
Am I allowed to ask a quick question before we get started?
100%. Yes.
So in the last 3 weeks, I would say, maybe
Yeah.
month, am getting deluged with scammers coming in through the KW app.
Yeah.
Is there a strategy? I don't respond to them, but I'm afraid that I've got my assistant just kind of, because they always want you to connect with them on WhatsApp. And so then I send an email and I say, I'm so sorry, I don't use WhatsApp, and they go dark. So you know it's a scammer.
Yeah.
I don't know beyond that if the company has anything they're looking at doing with it, or is everybody else experiencing these? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. And I love that you bring this up because it's a reoccurring topic that happens daily, nationally and internationally. So, really, the biggest thing with this new change of agent sites is that they're just optimized more. And so that's going to put your optimization so high that you will eventually get some spam contacts. Now, I'm just going to say it too, that we didn't get any of this kind of interaction before and prior. So I'm just curious over time, perhaps maybe we might see some real leads come in. And so,
Right.
there
That's
could
what I'm
be,
afraid of missing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there could be like a great opportunity that actually does come in that I don't want you to ignore. So what I like to just say is just don't ignore the
Yeah.
continuation of them. And yet the company does know about it, but it's because we've optimized our agent sites that much more so that you have a higher probability of capturing leads. Online leads, they could be spammy. And that's just part of the online lead,
Right.
game is
I wish they
we're
would use
gonna
their creative energies for something good.
I know.
right?
Who has
'Cause
time for
I
this?
probably get 4 a day coming in
I
on the
know.
KW app, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
You get so
But-
excited and then you look at it, it's like, oh, all right.
I know, but
Yeah.
you know what though? I mean, like, just as a coach, I just say don't give up on that because it might turn into a deal. It might turn
Right.
into a real conversation.
Is there
And
anything that I risk by emailing them? Hey, thank you for checking in.
no,
Okay.
no,
The only
nothing.
thing I do is just then when they say, can you call me on WhatsApp? I just
Uh-huh.
email back and say, I do use WhatsApp, but I email them back
Yeah.
and say, sorry, I don't use WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I figure if they're legit, they'll be, oh, no problem. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, listen, if it's gonna be like a real spam situation, they're trying to sell you on something as they respond. We all know that that's spam,
Right.
and to just block them, spam them, put them in your spam folder, etc. Don't click on any links, all
Right.
that stuff that we're aware of. So at any rate, all right, great question. Let's dive right into it. Welcome everyone. My name is Leslie Jackson. I'm a MAPS coach and a regional tech trainer for Colorado. Super excited to be here with you every Thursday. What I'd like to do today is just establish the topic and discuss the topic. We're going to also go into how you can execute this topic, okay? And the topic really is how to implement your value proposition inside Command. I have this conversation around value proposition a lot, and yet some agents just don't even know what it truly means. So what I'd like to do is just go over a simple definition of a value proposition, the benefits of really establishing one, and then how you can execute one in Command, okay? So what is a real estate value proposition? A real estate value proposition is a statement that informs clients and customers about a real estate agent's value to them and their needs. Most value propositions talk about important details, such as what you can do for your client, how customers can benefit from them, why customers should choose you over their competitors, being clear and concise with your information that you are delivering to them so they completely understand the big picture of your services, and how it can also motivate them to reach out to you to ask any questions about your VP. Okay, and I'm just going to use VP because it's an easier way to describe it. So VP is value proposition. So let's talk about the benefits, all right? The benefits of establishing one is really creating a sense of urgency around how your value proposition could be more beneficial than somebody else's. And then once you've established your competitive edge, create clear goals around that value proposition so that it can grab somebody's attention. And reversing this just a little bit is, let's get also really clear with our avatar, our person, our perfect client who we're trying to get into communication with. And for those of you who were at the summit with us last week, we've heard a lot of our mega teams that have like truly defined who their customer is. Then they created the value of how they're going to get into business with that person and solving those pain points of that avatar. So first-time home buyer is an example. But we won't go too much into that today because I want to stay focused. Building a clientele. So again, getting clear on who your person is, establishing clear goals around that value proposition, and then helping, basically essentially labeling your services and how your services can benefit that local community, that person, what they need. And then also competing with other businesses. So do you know the value of Keller Williams that you have right now in palm of your hands, KW Command app, your agent site, things of that nature? Maybe it's something else that other competitors don't have. So placing that sort of competitive edge in that language of your value proposition is key, so that they feel like as they do interview other agents, what's something else that they're really looking for in their hire of you, so that they know you're completely they are completely taken care of from A to Z, right? So let's just determine the consumer's problem. The consumer's problem is a pain point typically, right? So who is buying, who is selling, why do they need to buy? Why do they need to sell? And a lot of our panelists last week talked about that. They knew exactly why they needed to get into somebody's mind frame of that problem and how they could solve it. So really using your experience can help them solve that problem. And along with that, conducting market research, ensuring they know every single aspect of the market, being that local economist, so that you could focus on getting them to make that decision quicker and creating that sense of urgency. And then focusing on client benefits. So as we talk about value proposition, we really needed to establish what the benefits are of your value proposition so that you can simply, cohesively, and concisely deliver that. And we're going to implement that into technology today. Okay. So I want somebody to unmute themselves and just give me a description of what your value proposition is, or if you have one. Does anybody here on the call have a value proposition that they use? Susie, perfect. Can you describe your value proposition to the crowd here?
Well, so one of my specialties, which accounted for 60% of my closed deals last year, were with senior citizens. So I think my youngest of that 60% was 70 years old. So my
Wow.
value proposition goes all around that space, right? So I have designated myself as an aging in place consultant. So it's not always about selling a house. Wanting to make sure that seniors are living out their lives the way they want to or have the ability to. There are times when seniors no longer have the ability to do that. And so I'm the consultant that they reach out to understand, okay, is the time now or is it time to stay? And I bring the resources to bear if they want to age in place, to go ahead and install those grab bars and remove those rugs and all that stuff. So I'm constantly sending things out that have to do with aging in place and also housing options for those that can no longer age in place.
Super clear and super concise. I love it. And, as we think about that demographic, the pain point of that transition and what that can look like. So then matching services to that pain point and making them feel 100% taken care of is key. I love it.
And I'm on a longevity panel. So
okay.
5 of us on the longevity panel, and we take our sort of show on the road to different groups like the Kiwanis and Toastmasters and different groups that tend to be senior heavy. And so we've got a Medicare specialist. I'm the real estate aging in place specialist. We've got a reverse mortgage specialist. We've got a funeral planner, pre-planner specialist.
Wow.
And we have a long-term care insurance specialist. And so it's always really well received.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So you have also lined up that value proposition with other people to help execute your services and provide more services in that same topic. And I love it. I love it. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but it's all about having a plan of action, right? Like we can talk about value proposition all the time, but also like, who else comes next after they close the deal? Who else do they need in their world that we could stay in business with? And like having a vendor list is a huge value proposition for somebody who needs continued support. So as we discuss this topic today, perhaps this is going to help you get really clear with who your perfect client is, their pain point, and how you could serve them, not only just you, but partner with other businesses, partner with other people to help you serve them in that transition of life. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get back into just how we implement value proposition inside Command through opportunities. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So let's head into opportunities. And this is really where we get a little bit deeper with pipelines. It's not just for tracking deals. This is here to help you implement that value specifically every single day, whatever those tasks are, whatever that next person needs to come into play, okay? So I'm going to head into the listing side. I think the listing side is a really quick and easy way to just have this conversation. So I'm going to talk about stages and phases of the listing side, and we're going to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go ahead and click cultivate, just because value doesn't start when the listing is active. Value starts as soon as you have a conversation with that person so that they know exactly what your value is, right? And so what you're going to see right now is a little bit, it might be different on your screen, but essentially what I like for you to do is become really purposeful with your pipeline in every single phase. So these are called phases of the transaction: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. And every phase has stages. So these stages represent what's going to happen next when you have a conversation with a contact who is ready to buy or sell real estate. All right. So as you can see, I have 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and 9 to 12 months. This is set up in my cultivate pipeline on the list side as far as time frame goes. So time frame is a good way to just start tracking your contacts so that you can be very purposeful when you start sending more value, right? The value might be different from 9 to 12 months, as well as 6 to 9 months, and 3 to 6, and 1 to 3. 1 to 3 months, we know somebody needs more value quickly, whereas somebody may need value to help them move their mindset up to 6 to 9 months from 9 to 12. Does that make sense? So think about it in such a way where, number one, you get really clear with your value, who your avatar is, who your perfect client is, what their pain point is, and how can we proactively communicate with them about your value inside every single stage of their thought process. It's almost like we're getting inside their mind, right? It's like, as soon as we know somebody's pain point, then they're thinking, wow, that person really knows me. Like, I need to talk to them, right? And so the first step for you is to really then implement a timeline for your avatar inside opportunities, and then add specific checklists for every single stage and phase of value. Okay, so I'm going to pause there because I know I gave you a lot. What kind of questions do you have for me before I dive in? Because we are just getting started.
I almost feel like you should say it again. Just so it sinks in even deeper. Like,
I know. Well, let me just preface this conversation, you guys, with opportunities is underutilized every single day in our ecosystem. And if you were to utilize and implement what I'm teaching you today, by the way, this is being recorded. You can go back and re-listen to what I said, because I don't know if I could repeat the whole thing verbatim. But because it sounded so good, dang. The idea here is, you're in a room right now. You have the opportunity today to implement what I'm about to teach you, because all the agents that I work with and who I know who are doing this at a high level are winning in opportunities this way. Does that make sense? They're living in cultivate, they're living in appointment, and they're not just starting at active. Yes, Susie, do you have a question?
So yeah, so this is kind of an epiphany for me, because I've got my TC, my executive assistant, that does all of our opportunities when we're in the transaction. And then we have like 2 whiteboards that we keep track of everything. But I think you're telling me this can replace my whiteboards.
Okay, class is over. I'm done, you guys. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly the point. The point is,
we're trying to go paperless
yes,
and
yeah,
whiteboardless and all that
sticky
stuff.
notes
This is huge
everywhere,
for me.
to-do lists everywhere. Well, listen, I've been in this role, well, in the KW world for a while with our technology, and this is the number one reason why we create a command, so that you can implement your sticky notes, your to-do list, your value proposition. You guys, the recipe that I'm going to give you today is your own recipe inside command, and yet you're going to perfect it over time. Look, the real reason people hire you is because you have a system in place. They could see that you're going to take care of them. You pitch this all the time in your listing presentations, your buyer consultations. The biggest question mark back to you is, are you actually doing everything that you said that you're going to do? See, I believe this is integrity built into your systems. This is integrity built into what you say you're going to do. Follow through. You don't follow through, people get pissed. You don't follow through with what you're going to say. That's crappy communication. I'll just say it that way. Okay. So this is
Leslie?
communication and follow-up of your value proposition. Yes.
Cynthia had a really good question, and I guess I kind of have the similar one in the way, but I noticed that for you, I still have mine set up I guess the stock way that it came from KW, but I noticed that you have at the very first section, 1 to 3 months, followed by the 3 to 6, and then 6 to 9. So it looks like you're tracking your pipeline based on how long they've been in your pipeline versus how far out they are from transacting.
Correct. And I mean, listen, another nugget here is, because if you're not using Cultivate an appointment right now, you're probably sitting on 120,000 in GCI in your database right now. Because if you're not tracking those conversations and command every day in Cultivate, that's the moment when you look up and that person hired somebody else because you didn't stay in touch with them.
Can you tell us how to change that from Cultivate to 1 to 3 months?
I thought nobody was going to ask that question. Thanks, Cynthia.
Okay.
Cynthia asked it like 5 minutes ago.
She's like, get on with the show. Stop talking, Leslie. Okay, listen, you go to stages and checklists up here in the right-hand corner. And by the way, what I'm about to teach you is what you're going to do for every single phase in your transaction pipeline, prior to the transaction and after the transaction. Okay. Again, this is being recorded. So you're going to see my stage name, 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9. You see that? Now, how you make those edits is right-hand side of the screen, pencil. Anytime you see a pencil in command, that means you can edit it. Then you go ahead and just simply type in your stage name. So you get really in tune and get curious about how you are cultivating relationships. How are you following up? What's the value that you're providing to make sure that they know who you are? And how are you keeping yourself on track? This is a way. This is a way. So if you were to change your habit and to live in command in this way, I guarantee you, you will have business in January. Like, who here has closings in January, first quarter of next year? This is how you're going to get it. This is how you're going to get more. So that's how you change the stage name. I'm going to go over checklist items here in a second. Does anybody have any questions about what I've taught so far? No?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So right now we're in Cultivate. So what happens when somebody is 1 to 3 months out, 3 to 6 months out, 6 to 9 months out, et cetera, et cetera? See how I have 2 years? Because some people are waiting for interest rates to fall. It's okay to have 2 years. It's okay to have 1 year, because it shows that when we are already thinking about buying or selling, that even though we might give you a time frame, let's say 9 to 12 months out, I've already committed in my head mentally that I'm going to move. So I'm actually might be 6 to 9 months out as a consumer. So don't take their time frame verbatim. Like I said, time frame is a loose number. So move them up a little bit. Like if somebody said they're 9 to 12 months out, put them in 6 to 9 months, because they've already made that mental checkpoint that they're ready to move or sell or buy.
Leslie, what about the probability?
Yeah. BJ, love that question. Probability, if you do this correctly, and if you're really passionate about winning appointments and setting and keeping appointments, is your conversion rate. So what's the probability of somebody moving from 9 to 12 to 6 to 9? So we're going to get really detailed here. And this is, again, data in, data back. So the more that you put data in and the more that you move people to the appropriate stages of your pipeline, then that probability is going to start changing. So let's just take a look real quick. I'm going to click on back to the listings. Back here. So you'll see that the average time for these two opportunities is 846 days. That's because I'm a trainer. And that's because those opportunities are fake. But if you were to look at yours and ask yourself, am I moving my opportunities through the pipeline appropriately? It will tell you on average how long your opportunities stand in your pipeline. This is why I've created these classes for you, because I want you to be prepared for next year. All right. So new habit. What's the new habit out of this conversation for anyone? Anybody want to unmute themselves? What are you committed to so far?
Always make an opportunity for people if they're thinking about
Yes.
doing real estate.
Yes. I mean, I guarantee you, if you all were to go back to your contacts and look through all of your conversations of when somebody raised their hand and said, yeah, I'm ready to buy or sell, but not now. And yeah, my budget is, X, Y, and Z. You could create that opportunity now, put them in Cultivate, put them in that time frame, and you're never going to look up, if you do this right, and find out that that person hired somebody else. So what I'm trying to do is prevent you from having that, oh, that sucks moment, to how can we provide more value so that they never leave your world. All right. So take a look at average time, also volume, because over here on the right-hand side, it's going to show you probable income and potential income. So potential income is a total commission from all listing opportunities. Probable income is the adjusted commission based on each stage's probability to close. So again, if you use this right in the right way, you're going to know exactly what you could be making in the future. Again, just an incentive for you to have conversations sooner. All right. So I'm going to head over to appointment. So appointment, same thing, stages and checklists. I'm going to start pouring into you guys about checklists here in a second, but I'd like to discuss the stages first. By the way, stage name can be subjective for your business. These are just examples. I'm not here to say, go ahead and take my stage name. I'm telling you that you can go in and change it based on your avatar, based on your value proposition. And then promise you, I'm going to show you how to implement your value proposition, because that's the end goal. So stage name and edit appointment stages, we have scheduled, follow-up, after appointment, and kept. Again, how are you scheduling? What are the activities that you need to do to get that appointment scheduled? And how are you following through? And it's super granular, right? You're like, well, I just scheduled the appointment, but how? Do you call them? Do you follow up with them to ensure that it's in your calendar? Do you send them an invite via email? Do they accept that invite via email? I hear a lot of teams who are like, oh yeah, we set appointments all day long. And then we show up and then nobody shows. I'm like, well, yeah, did your ISA or your admin ensure that that person accepted it in their calendar? No. Well, then that's a step to add to your checklist. Ensure that the client accepts your calendar invite for the consult. Okay. So let's move to, Corey has a question. Would you enter referral income opportunities into opportunities as well? And how do you differentiate those from your local opportunities? I mean, I would, because then it offers you an incentive to get those closed and follow up with that agent. I see no harm in that. It's just another way to track, but we do have referral tracking over here in the referral applet. So remember that too. All right, so we're gonna head to active and moving on. I like active listing conversations because it's fun. They're easy to do. A lot of the listing activities that you all might do might already be in here. And this is where I'm going to transition into checklists so that we can get really granular and purposeful around value. Homework for you is to figure out what your value proposition is in the cultivate section and then the prior to the appointment section. Okay, so that's your homework. Who's your avatar? What's your value prop? How do you differentiate yourself from other agents who that person might be interviewing? What are you offering from Keller Williams that sets you apart so that you can set that appointment? Okay, so get clear there, cultivate an appointment. Now that we go into, let's say, an active listing, some people are like, okay, does that mean that the listing is in the MLS? Or maybe it's because they actually signed. I'm going to say they signed, because what we can do is when you have a signed contract, I find that that person is active. So I'm going to go to stages and phases again and show you my coming soon, my showing, my price drop, because let's just keep it real. Sometimes that has to happen. Negotiations, and then legacy is something that we can ignore. Legacy is for like dot loop users so that we could put legacy dot loops in. All right. So coming soon campaign, there's a lot. There's a lot of things that we can do in the coming soon section. I'm just going to rattle some of these activities off. And again, as you can see, they could correlate back into that previous conversation of value. So if I'm going to list my home with you, are you going to provide cleaning? Are you going to provide professional photos? What kind of lockbox will be up? How do I know when the call sign is going to be up in my front yard? What kind of marketing are you going to be executing for me? I love social media. So did we talk about Facebook campaigns, the exclusivity of that partnership with Keller Williams? What kind of brochures are you creating for me as a client? Do you guys see all these things? These are value. Hint, hint, I mentioned Facebook exclusive partnership with Keller Williams. Write that down in your value prop, because if you're not telling your clients that, that's something that sets you off from your competitors. I'm going to email my SOI about the open house. We're going to hold an open house. We're going to go door knocking around your home. We're going to door knock 50 doors deep. We're going to blast that on Facebook. Do you guys want to hire me? Because right now it sounds like I am giving you the world as a seller, right? Like I have my systems in place. I'm going to time it out to let you know when they're going to happen. And by the way, Command can do that. So you could even look at the very bottom one, follow up with the sellers about all. See, there's nobody ever complains about over communication, do they? They always complain about not communicating enough. So don't underestimate over communicating, and the system will help you do that. Okay. I have client updates here on the right-hand side. This is going to be another concept that I'm bringing in to next week. So I think it's next week's course. Okay, so we're going to table the client update conversation, and yet this is how we're going to win referrals in the future. But really, it's about your homework in this today's course is getting clear with what you're passionate about. Anybody here in my Realify group? Anybody? Cynthia. So yeah. So I have a Realify group with Nick Baldwin. I'll drop the link in there, but we interviewed Jason Abrams yesterday. He was one of our guests, head of industry. And the top things that he really brought to the table was farming and being passionate about a particular area and being passionate about what you're doing every day. Because if you're not, that's where burnout happens. And I'm telling you, this goes deep into who you're talking to, and you're, again, your perfect client, right? Like maybe you have a church community, or like somebody created a walking community, and that's how she did lead gen every day, right? And so like a value proposition to somebody who's in a walking community could be like, you get 20% off of you get a free pair of Nikes when you hire me. I'm going to give you my best walking shoes, right? Like, because it connects with that person's interests. So when we also think about value proposition, who else are we working with? You know, what else matters to them in this transaction or buying or selling experience? Whew, we can go deep, you guys. All right. So what I want you to do is come into every single stage and add checklists. So how you do that is click on a checklist. You might see 0 out of 0. You're going to select add item, enter that task name. Let's say, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let's do show Facebook analytics to sellers for, oops, I before E after C, hold on. So, you know, we can do this and say, not only do we have Facebook ads running in the background, but this is just going to be a task and reminder for me to show them the value. Because we could talk about ads all day and we could talk about marketing all day, but what were the results? Sellers want to know that, right? So show them the analytics of your ads, show them how you did marketing, show them how that exclusive partnership brought you 25 leads for their listing at $3.41 per lead. Okay. Is this available in Teams? Yes, it is. And the beautiful thing about the team scenario here in opportunities is that you can assign these. See how it says add assignee? So I can add my assistant to this, set up open house signs. I can add my assistant to creating these Facebook campaigns. I can add my assistant to make sure that the lockbox is set up, and my assistant in the team account will get these set of tasks. So as long as she is added as a collaborator or assignee on the opportunity. Whew. I know. All right. What kind of questions do you have for me so far? I know I've given you a lot. Oh,
How
am
soon
I
do you-
raising my
often-
own hand here? Sorry, go ahead. Who is this?
Oh, it's Cynthia.
Oh,
About
hi, Cynthia.
price dropping.
Yeah.
How soon from like, you know, you have the coming soon campaign, you're showing. I mean, do you wait a month, 2 months? You know, when do you suggest, if you haven't sold by then? I think right
Yeah.
now in the Vail Valley, we're at about 67 days is the average.
I was just about to say that. Know your average, first of all. Prep them with that average. The more information and statistics I know before a price drop occurs, it's not going to be so sour in my mouth when we do have to talk about price drop. So again, it's proactive communication prior to it. And yet we also want to price right the first time. Ensure that they know that it's going to be priced right the first time. And yet here's the stats that show average days on market. Susie, you wanted to add something there?
Yeah, is there a way to tie in smart plans to this?
100% there is, but there's no automation to when they go. So what you can do, there is automation, it's just that you have to remind yourself to create that automation. So what you can do is let's talk about active, because I think that's an easy one to talk about. So we're in the active listing section. I have all of my checklists here. Let's go into the coming soon checklist. This is where I would add an item like tag client active for the active smart plan campaign. Great.
That is huge.
So then
So,
what? Yep. So I put this
when
at
we
the
have
top of the
another
list.
contract, right now, my assistant sends out sort of canned emails, okay,
Yeah.
here's what to expect next. Here's what,
Yeah.
but if we could automate that, that would
Yeah.
be huge.
Yeah, so all you would do, Susie, is, well, and everyone, so you would actually work first in smart plans. So you could create a smart plan for all of these phases of the transaction: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. This example is for active. And so once I create my active smart plan, like, welcome to the Foot team. We're so excited for you to be a part of our selling journey. We want to ensure you that we're going to take the utmost care of you through our value that we have already provided in previous conversations. Here's what we discussed. Here's what you can expect. Our cleaners are going to be first. Our professional photography is going to be second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And you're going to see these updates come through in a timely manner. Once these activities are complete, you're going to receive an email from me that those activities are complete at any time, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, you get it? So with that being said, I can go in and tag, assign to my assistant, go tag Leslie as a client, put that active tag on her, because as soon as you put that active tag on her, the active smart plan will then deploy. Okay. So all she has to do is go place a tag, but that tag has to be associated with that smart plan as a trigger. Okay. Who have I lost in this conversation? Because I think the biggest part is it is a lot to take in. I can show you how to trigger a smart plan with the tag. If you've lost me there, I could show you that because we have plenty of time. Unmute yourself and let me know where I lost you.
I think that'd be a good idea to show us how to
Cool.
tag it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, cool. So checklist, you can just, again, remind yourself to do things like a smart plan, to pick up the phone to call people, right? Let's go to smart plans. So in this example, what I'm about to show you is how to trigger a smart plan with a tag. And how you would do that first is creating a smart plan, a custom smart plan. But for the sake of time, I'm going to use my just listed. I think I have my just listed in here. Yeah. My just listed and marketing tips smart plan. This is very similar to what we just discussed. Okay. Add trigger event. So I have my active smart plan for my active client. Hi and congrats, your house is now on the market. We look forward to helping you, and we will stay in close communication about the showings that will be scheduled. As soon as we hear feedback, we will give you a call. Please don't please don't hesitate to call us at any time. Thank you. So here's just kind of like a view of, and by the way, you can go look at the smart plan and download it in the smart plan library. Just look underneath my name. Here's again an email that fires out. Showings and what to expect. Now that your home is on the market, showings will begin. Make sure that you have communicated with us about any last minute changes to your showing timeframes, so we can optimize the time that is available for other agents. We always suggest to be as flexible as possible so we can sell your house quicker. Again, is preparing the client to be flexible. How many people on this call have inflexible clients that are like, no, I just can't show my home right now? You're like, well, you're never going to get your house sold. This is language to help them get into the right mind frame of being available, right? In a professional way. In today's market, we see this happen quite often, and buyers will find another house that is similar to yours. Thank you for playing like a team with us. It takes all hands on deck to help you sell your home quicker and for maximum dollar. After every showing, we will send you a showing report for the next day or forward you the agent's feedback each time we receive it. How much time is this saving you, right? Because it's proactively letting them know and setting expectations, going back to the value of over communicating. So they know what to expect. Every market is different, so we'll always collect data for you so that we're always ahead of the curve. Please let us know if you have any questions. Otherwise, if we have an interested buyer, we will call you immediately to inform you. Do you have an interested buyer? Do you have an interested buyer? Do you have an interested buyer? Right? This is getting ahead of it. Okay. So all we have to do is add trigger event and select a tag or create a tag. I thought we could create tags in here. Hold on. Why is this not working? Oh, I might be in my team account. No. Oh, here we go. Plus button. I don't know why it's not prompting me to not add my own tag. Well, if you run into this, make sure you go add the active client tag first. You would just go create it in somebody's contact record, or you could do it in the settings section. Then you would come in here and choose the trigger active client. This is just an example. So then when your team or admin says, okay, I have an active client, or you're the person that's going to do it, this smart plan will fire automatically. Okay. But again, this is all about your value. What did you tell the seller? What did you tell the buyer? Proactive communication of what is happening next in the transaction, even prior to the transaction. Okay. Does this make sense to everybody? Yes, I see a lot of heads nodding. Okay, cool. All right, I think I've given you plenty there. So I'm going to recap. Today we talked about implementing your value proposition. What is a value proposition? We went over how you can be more purposeful with who you're serving and what kind of value you can provide, along with how to implement your value proposition inside Command through the opportunity pipeline. We went over how to change stages. We went over how to add checklists, and also even how to assign an admin or somebody on your team to help provide that value back to your client. Next week, we're going to talk about how to gain referrals through this. Looks like I'm done talking. I guess my hand is up. That's so funny. I don't know how that happened. All right. Anybody want to unmute themselves before we depart? Just kind of give me feedback on today's class. Susie.
As I say, every time I pop in on one of these, it's excellent, and I need to pop in more.
Good,
I want
thanks.
my assistant to, this is being recorded, yes?
Yeah.
So will you send the link? I want my assistant to watch it.
Yeah, in fact, I don't have a link on me, but just go to KW Colorado's regional YouTube page, and I will be uploading these classes every time. In fact, I am due to upload the previous week's that I had. So, and that's again around opportunities. But yes, all of these classes are being recorded. I
And
upload them.
will it be identified by date or title of the class? How will it be
Yes, it will
identified?
be. Yes, it
Okay.
will be titled by the class. Yep. And
Can
it
you
will have the
repeat-
date on there.
Can you repeat what section we're supposed to go to again? KW what?
Yeah. Here, 1 second, you guys. Why don't I just, if you have the time, I'm gonna go grab it for you.
Leslie, do you know how many of the market centers are utilizing like Scott Leroy to help them out with like onboarding and stuff?
I know a lot. I don't know the number, but I know a lot of market centers do utilize Scott Leroy.
The only reason I ask is because I mean, I guess even for the people that don't utilize Scott Leroy, they posted some videos recently too, and like obviously you guys can go back to this video and just kind of like pause it and then steal her whole entire plan. But Scott Leroy, they also put out basically like template stages or phases, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I used to kind of get mine started. So it was kind of a little intimidating. I'm like, okay, great. Well, I got to make all these checklists now. So I was able to steal them from Scott Leroy or steal them from this video now, and then plug and play and switch them around as to whatever fits the value proposition, just like
For
Leslie said.
sure. I have a checklist myself, so 1 sec.
I'm gonna try to put this link in here from that other one I found.
And this checklist has both the buy side and the sell side, as well as, this was the LA regions checklist. You're gonna see escrow in there. But just, this is a really good one because it can establish some sort of foundation for you to kind of get your mind frame into it. And see what other people are doing. It's very beneficial. Thank you for bringing that up too, because I totally forgot I had that. And yeah, if you can share whatever you can, Ricardo, that'd be great. Awesome, you guys. Well, it was you guys are always fun to see, and I love the engagement and the questions. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. Anytime, feel free to reach out. It's lesliejackson@kw.com. Okay. Anybody else want to share any ahas before we go?
You're an awesome tech trainer.
Thanks, Ricardo. I appreciate you. I always appreciate your
Hey,
energy here
Ricardo,
too.
I have a question because I don't know anything about Scott Leroy. Where do we find him? You said our market centers utilizing him for onboarding. I'm on our ALC and we're trying to tweak our onboarding as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
So where can you send me? What value does he provide?
Leslie, do you want to speak to that? I don't want to
Yeah.
steal
Yeah,
some thunder here.
absolutely.
You probably know better than me.
Well, yeah, I do. He is kind of a friend of mine, but so Susie, a lot of market centers hire his services to help agents get their contacts into command. And so they provide kind of that connection with brand new agents that join Keller Williams to put their database in command. And then they set up opportunity checklists. And I don't know if it's checklists or just phases of opportunity pipelines. They do so much more, but that's just kind of the gist of it. And they a market center pays a monthly subscription for them. And it's got SLM is what the abbreviation. And it's got, oops, where did
They got like a YouTube channel that's public. So, I mean, you can go on there and kind of
So
check
is
out the
he-
stuff that they
So is
pump
he a
out.
little bit like Michael Lewis Marty Miller?
No, he's more service oriented. Marty is a trainer, an RTT, and
Okay,
he does all the challenges to get agents to use command. He's
Okay.
more service oriented for agents to just
got it.
do it
And
for
so we
them.
can find him on YouTube too?
Yeah, pretty sure you could find him on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
got
it
a
is.
YouTube channel for Scott Leroy Marketing. You can look up, and then I posted a link right there after Leslie's link, just with that Google Doc with all the templates that
Got
they
it.
kind of created. So
Thank
Yeah.
you.
you can call the Fort Collins Market Center if you want to know more about it. I guess setting it up.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
All right.
Leslie.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
I'll upload this as soon as possible. Talk to you soon.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Leslie.
Bye.